Hi! Day 20 post-op. And today was the first day of knee class. The other thing I've been trying to figure out is whether my leg was actually straight. Now, my flexion and extension was measured today at knee class, and here's what my legs look like straight. So it's really hard to work out whether they're actually straight when you've got a fat knee like this. But here's the thing. Like I've said before, I'm hypermobile, which makes comparing one leg to the other freaking impossible because it flexes and bends more than it actually should. So I can't actually say I want this leg to be like that leg because it's never going to happen. Because for a start, the prosthetic is not going to allow it because of its design. However, here is what I discovered today. So it's quite obvious which knee is the operated knee, the big fat right one. But if you watch my left leg, I can do this. Watch this. I can do this, which apparently is not normal. And when she was measuring it, I was trying to say that I was trying to compare it to the one whether it's straight. She said that's not normal. Apparently my knees hyperextend now. I know they do, and being able to lift your foot off the floor like that is just not right. But I used to be able to do it in both legs. Now, apparently the prosthetic implant is not going to allow my new knee to hyperextend, which is good news, I suppose. So that means that yes, I have got to 0 degrees. Woohoo! Now, that's actually only taken me a week from the last time she checked it and it wasn't quite straight. Here is what I have done most to be able to get that straight. So to begin with, she told me to put my heels on the coffee table, which is not a thing I'd choose to do anyway. Like this. Now, ignore the fat knee and ignore the hyperextended knee. The next thing I did was I added ice as a weight. So this is a pack of frozen peas inside a pillowcase. And I just sit with that on my knee for a wee while. Now, it doesn't take that long for it to straighten out. So it's worth a go. And it's killing two birds with one stone because it's icing that poorly knee and adding weight at the same time. Double bonus. The other thing that I've started doing, and this was to try and fix my conscious mind and unconscious mind, is swaying from side to side, weight from left to right. Now, this is what I started doing before I was able to completely load bear on the right leg post-surgery. I started doing this a week or two ago.
So I started this exercise with 2 crutches, leaning slightly over onto one, leaning over onto the other one, until I could put more of my weight. Then I got rid of a crutch. I'm leaning right over, purposely onto the operated leg and back to the other leg. And then I lost the crutches completely and kept on going. Helped my mind know that my leg can take my weight.
Now, the more confident I got with it, the less crutch support I needed and the more weight I can put through the leg on its own. I was doing it equally left and right, but it certainly helped with being able to walk balanced, and I take videos all the time so that I can compare left to right to see whether there's any compensation that I'm doing that I need to fix. So today I went to my first knee class. Now, I've been down to see what the average age of the knee class attendees are, and they were all proficient and knew exactly what they were doing when they were strutting in, a bit like an exercise class. The average age was around 70. And a lady came along with a piece of paper to check who was where and who was who and who had attended the knee class. She walked straight up to me, and I'd never seen her before in my life, and she said, "Hi, you must be Melanie." Like, and how did you tell? Have you got my date of birth next to my name? Because yes, I do look like the odd one out. However, they're all very lovely people. One guy looked about the age of my father, and he was 10 weeks post-op with his knee, and he's graduated from knee class and was able to not come back, and he was quite triumphant. He was telling me that I should expect a turnaround, my next corner turning in sort of moment at about week 5 or 6. So I will hold him to that. There was another guy who was Maori who had 2 knees at the same time. It was called bilateral knee replacement. I told him he was my new hero because, geez, why would you do that twice? Then this conversation started with the other guy that I'd been speaking to about just a minute ago, who had only had one knee, right knee, same as mine, and he was on about how he was never going through this again. At which point a lady turned up at this stage, and I said, well, a lot of people often say, you know, you won't have another one. They tell me it's a bit like babies, you know, you have one and you're not going to have another one. I said, but I tell you what, I'm goddamn not having another one unless my leg falls off. And this other guy totally agreed with me that he was not going through this again. Then we had this whole conversation about drugs and things like that, and apparently this drug works for him and that drug works for him. And when I said, nope, no drugs, since day 3, they all thought I was their hero. So it was quite an interesting conversation in total, actually. Then a lady came along and she had had her operation on exactly the same day. And she was quite pleased that there was somebody else that was there that was also female. We both got on bikes, a recumbent bike and a normal exercise bike, and neither one of us could pedal right round. I could get about half of the pedal stroke, and I was like, oh, damn it. And I put the seat up as high as it would physically go, and it's like, damn it. And she said, maybe we need to race to see who gets there first. So there we go. That's my new next mini mission. Not that I need any inspiration or anything. We then had to do a rowing machine. Now I had to totally modify what I'm doing on a rowing machine because I used to be a rower and I had to shorten my stroke in order to be able to do it because obviously my knee wouldn't bend as much. At this point, this other old guy turned up and he was chatting away to me and was looking at me, and then he just leaned over and notched the rowing machine up to 8. And I said, are you tampering with my resistance? And he said, yeah, because that looks far too easy for you. I'm like, damn it, I've only been here one day, one moment, and you're already telling me that this is too easy. You just go away. So it was quite an interesting and entertaining experience, actually, in the knee class. And then the physio would take each one of them to the side, one by one, and then measure flexion and extension and talk about what exercises you had to do this week and that sort of thing. And yeah, it was pretty cool. But other than that, you were sort of left to your own devices. So the only one I missed out was leg press. I might work my way towards that next week. So yes, it was rowing machine, recumbent bike, normal exercise bike, and leg press. And you just seem to please yourself and do whatever you want. And heel raises and the TheraBand extensions and walking up and down stairs. Now, to me, walking up and down stairs doesn't help me too much at this stage because I don't use my operated leg to get up and down the stairs. So I missed that out because it seemed pointless. But I did demonstrate my nifty move, how to get up and down off the floor, and none of the others were able to do it. So I thought, woohoo! Now, I have demonstrated this before, pre-op in the garden, and a lot of people questioned whether it was even realistic because I hadn't had the operation yet. Now I can assure you I'll find a space and get someone to video it because I have done it. I did it on day 5 and I did it today when I was in the gym at the physio department, and I can still do it. I get up and down off the floor without using my operated leg, and it is the one thing that most people find really difficult. So I'll find a way of showing you that because yes, I'm feeling quite pleased that I can still do it. Lovely physio, she says, have you got any questions? And I said, oh look, Becca, I've always got questions, lots and lots of questions. And she sort of went like this. I said yes, and I'll apologise for all the emails before, during and after this conversation, and she just laughed at me. So I was asking her why the lady across there was not able to straighten her leg but could bend her leg easily peasily to 90 degrees, and she was only on week 3 and exactly the same as me, and why I could straighten it easily and not bend it. And she said that this was interesting as well. She said that it was usually because of the muscle conditioning pre-op. So she said she'd found that people that didn't have very much pain, just stiffness and immobility in the knee joint before the operation, had lost less muscle conditioning and therefore got all of this back quicker, could lift their leg up off the ground and get the flexion and all that sort of thing much quicker because their quads activated faster. Whereas people who had a lot of pain pre-op tended to avoid doing the exercise, using that leg the same, and therefore would lose conditioning. And then we had a conversation about prehab and all that sort of thing. She said it's 6 and 2/3, and you go round and roundabouts because prehab strengthen the muscle but causes the pain, and round we go. Now, it's actually quite interesting because that is another thing that's to my detriment. I did mention way back that I had effectively managed to cover up all my inabilities to do stuff, and that had come to blows when it came to medical professionals, because I was effectively covering it all up far too well, actually, till they opened up my knee and went, ah, bugger. But it's the same thing with getting around and that sort of stuff. So I have adapted lunges to take the load off my knee. I've adapted squats to take the load off to the left. And I could effectively still do all these things and walk around, and no one would have any clue. But what I was actually doing was undoing all the work for later, because I was loading my left leg, which is super strong, and I would have no problem standing on it all day and balancing and lifting things up off the floor and whatever if I didn't have a right leg. But it's left the right leg lagging behind, and now I'm paying for it with the horrible exercises and the pain that I'm getting to get that quad back working again. So at least I've got a scientific, physiological, mechanical reason for the problem, which is always nice because I like to have answers. And rounding off today, I managed to get into the front of both of the people's cars that came to take me to the hospital and take me back again without too much drama. So that made me feel pretty chuffed too, because that's the thing that concerns me the most, is getting enough bend to be able to drive again. Now, all of the people I was talking to reckoned 6 to 8 weeks before you'd be able to drive realistically. And I knew that, and I was always hoping to defy the odds and rah-rah, but it looks like I'm not going to, and I might just have to be patient a bit longer. Oh, I nearly forgot. The most exciting part of all. I was asking the physiotherapist, am I all right to walk on one crutch? And she was like, yeah. As if, why are you asking me the question? So I said, well, you see, I need an official answer to this question, because I have been walking around on one crutch for the last couple of days, and my dear husband has been telling me off, telling me I haven't had physio clearance yet, and I should go back and get that other leg. And all the other people in the class were laughing their heads off. So yes, stick it to you. I am now allowed to walk with 3 legs instead of 4. Yes! So today, guess what? I've officially graduated to 1 crutch. Woohoo! So that means I can walk like this, which I've got to admit is a lot closer to 2 legs than it was the last time I tried this. Yes!